Hello and welcome to part 15.5. In this part, labelled West Coast Express, we're going to finish the work that we started in our last point 5 episode, where we were expanding the network we'd already created to accommodate faster trains. And this is basically the plan. So in the meantime, as obviously in between recordings, I've formulated a plan as to what we're actually going to do for this route. I mean, we kind of had a plan anyway, but I'm just going to sort of outline what the idea is. So I'm going to switch over to the map which we have, which currently outlines what we've created. Now, if I switch back to OpenTTD and I go into the town directory, you'll see here there is a list of the most populated towns. Now, the top ones are Reddingstone, as you'd probably expect, the first city we started building in, of 8,500 near enough. So Reddingstone's number 1. Number 2 is Nunnington. Number 3 is Trinley. And then, well, when I started recording, it was actually Sunwood that was number 4, but now it's Pronningpool Falls. But yes, Sunwood's a close number 5. So these 4 towns, Reddingstone, Nunnington, Trinley, and Sunwood, are all on the west coast of our map. So as you can see here, now that would formulate a great basis to create an express route because we'll be serving the busiest cities in the game basically. So once we've completed the infrastructure work to the railway, we'll have a express service which goes through Reddingstone, Bootown, Nunnington, we'll have some services stopping Warnpool, Trinley, Sunwood. Now service wise we'll come on to that obviously in a short while, but the first thing we need to do is ensure that the network that we've created is up to scratch. Now, what we will do is, as demonstrated by the sidings, I think we covered it in the last 0.5 part, we'll have the express trains running as 5 tile long trains. So I do want to ensure that every platform is 5 tiles. Now we have that with Reddingstone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the express train is going to run down this bypass here to Bootown, which is 5 tile. Whoa, what's that train doing? Okay. We're going to go to Bootown, which is 5 tile long. That probably tells me that I should actually have this as a junction here, just in case it needs to, because it's just going to loop there anyway. So that's 5 tile, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the express will come through here. Now this is our next port of call. We need to expand Labourer to allow for express trains to pass the town. Now I don't want to destroy the main centre here, but what we'll do is destroy one of those buildings as I mute my phone. Apologies, I have a new phone and forgot to mute it. Advantage of working for a phone shop is that you can call it an advantage, but you constantly are changing phones. Right, so I'll create a road there of which we can let the town expand some new buildings. And if we level this area here, because as I'm demolishing buildings, I want to make sure that the town has enough space to rebuild what we have taken. So we'll do that there, and then if we expand here, we'll have another road. In fact, we could link it up here and just basically create one huge western road. Like so. Right, so as you can see here, we're in desperate need of this bypass, aren't we? I mean, there's a lot of trains running down here, and it's only going to get worse. So let's basically make the other 2 tracks come down this side of the station. So is that bus going to use this bridge? Yes, it is. Once this bus has cleared the bridge, we'll get rid of that and expand the bridge to accommodate 4 tracks. Put in our railway here. So these 2 will be the down lines. So can we loop them there? We'll try and link them up here because we have 2 tracks diverging there. We could try and keep it 4 track up to this junction. Let's extend this bridge as well, and we have to demolish that house. So that's going to be where one of the lines goes, one of the lines diverges. Put 2 signals there, and this is where our junction shall be. So that's what will happen. So this is where the down lines will diverge. We'll do the down lines first and then do the up lines. Would probably be the best way to do this, wouldn't it? So let's create another bridge here. There's a lot of land here that could be built on, so let's give the town the opportunity to do that. Let's remove that, create some orderly roads like this. And bring this back. Oh, no, that's going to be in the way of our buildings. Let's get rid of that road. Demolish these two houses and build the railway like so. Okay, so that's fine. Let's just conclude this little section by doing this. We'll create Labourer's platform on the far side. If I can find the right platforms. Here we go. There we are. So that's the far platform. And we'll create an underpass design. Someone has commented as well saying I should try some more varied station designs, which to be honest I agree with. And although there's not really much I can do with this station particularly, I will try that with newer stations that I build. So we'll put another underpass there and create a symmetrical design. Oh, that was going to use Labrador, wasn't it? Let's put that there. I just anticipated that, hey, that train's probably going to stop there, and I've probably destroyed its route by taking up that station. Okay, so let's put a signal there, and here, 1, 2, 3, and one there, because we can give the trains ample space to queue for the platform, should it ever need to occur. Put a signal there and there. Right, so we have the bypass. Now we can close this route for now. There we go. Let's uproot this platform, which now definitely isn't going to be used. And we can... How are we going? We can't really put a track there, can we? Because that's going to slow the express trains down quite a lot. Why don't we? How can we do this? That turn there is already going to be quite troublesome for express trains. Why don't we do this? Let's move this back. It's going to be quite a lot of reconstruction. So let's get rid of this road and move that back. And that bus is going to use that bridge, isn't it? Yes, it is. We'll extend the bridge another tile. It's a very long bridge. And just cut this corner out like so. And then, yeah, it's not going to be as troublesome, is it, for the train just to divulge onto the express passing line? Or, yeah, actually, this would be a better shot, wouldn't it? Let's put the junction there. Let's create a signal here. Oops. Yep, like that. Get rid of these two. Create two path signals there. And that will accommodate the stations nicely. I was wondering why that train didn't use this line, but then I realised it isn't connected at the other end, as we previously just discovered. So that will make sense, wouldn't it? Right, so this is where we're at the moment. So we've got through Labrador now. Labrador is basically done. Then we'll have a junction here, but that will come when we build the next section. How are we going to get through Nunnington? I think the platforms at the moment are sufficient. I think that having 3 platforms here, if we speed it up for a bit, it's not really often that I've seen that trains queue to get into those 3 platforms. Bear in mind that these trains here that are servicing, they'll be pulled off soon because they're going to be using the same route we're about to accommodate. So I think that 3 platforms is going to be enough. So we'll keep those as 3 platforms. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. They are only 4 tiles long though, so we are going to have to extend the platforms. We could probably keep the these lines as they are, couldn't we? So if we actually put these signals here instead, move this signal down 1. Yeah, so that will actually suffice, wouldn't it? How are we going to extend them? Because there ain't a lot of room around here. Let's move this road up a tile and get rid of this little loop that we've now created. Destroy a few of these buildings. Now, I'm not too concerned about there being a steep corner going into the station because, I mean, you know, the express trains are going to be stopping here anyway. So we're not really losing anything, are we? Although that is very tight. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. That's gonna be the bit that's reclaimed, isn't it? Right, so if we do that, so okay, so that's how that platform will be serviced. If we do this here, yeah, that'll work actually, won't it? And we'll put a signal there. In fact, no, there, and one here. Yeah, there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Move these signals back one tile. And let's create an extension to this. I want to create a canopy because it's going to be quite an important station now. And we'll just have one extra island there and one there. And that is Nunnington. Bay platform intact, nothing adjourned at this end of the station. That should suffice. And what we can also do is trim this bridge very quickly. Oh, come on. Yes. Before the bus comes. Oh, man. I was so close to doing it before having to intervene with that bus. Will it turn around? Yes, there we go. And then obviously these tiles can be then built upon by the town as well. So that's that done. Then the expresses will go up here. Already have these as branch line stations. This is something I want to address here. So this train is stopping. How can we address this section? What we could do is have this branch line serve like so. So we could have like a siding, like a waiting area here for the just for the branch line platforms like that. And then that kind of join onto the main line there. So we'll have to re-signal, but that just takes away the branch line services from waiting on the main line, creates a secondary wait, like a holding area almost for those platforms. And we can signal this section up here. So yeah, that's fine. Put a signal there. Move that one up slightly and put a signal there. Okay, so now the branch line services will wait in this holding area, which takes away services from our main line. I don't think we need to do the same here. The problem tends to be up here, so that'll be okay. Then the express trains will come down this section through here. Yep, all fine, all fine. Right, that's fine. Okay. We'll have some services, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thankfully it's already 5 tile. We'll have some services stop through Warnpool and some continue. We'll address how we can do these changes shortly. Trinley's already at 6 tile, though I think we could do with adding an extra platform, to be honest. Or 2. What have we got here? We have the express services, don't we, from the main line. We also have oil services which are going to be passing the station. We could create a section of bay platforms here for the express, not the express, the rural services which use the line. Could be a good idea. Or shall we just extend and add an extra? I would say let's just add an extra platform because it's going to be used by trains passing the station as well. Would probably be the most useful. So let's do that. We could actually put 2 here, considering that we have the space to do so. It would bring it up to this line of buildings that will be created along the new road. So I add these up here. Oh, there we go. Get rid of that road there. We could have 2 platforms here, you see. Get rid of these buildings. Move these inwards. We'll have to move up that signal. And we'll have just a... that does mean that every line can access every station. Yes, it does. Move these back down. Extend this bridge like so. Let's not put a railway bridge instead of the road one. Let's put an actual road truss bridge instead. Let's move these signals back. And signal these out just to allow for quick exit from the station. I'm going to have these platforms serviced like that. Yes, that'll work, won't it? In fact, why don't we do this? And get rid of that one. Then we can move that signal up a single tile. Move that one back. No, let's move this one forward. Put that there. And as just demonstrated by this train, we will have more routes for them to pass through. Obviously, it only used that platform because there was no station tiles currently on there. Now, what can we do for the... let's create a station building as was described and recommended to us. So what have we got available? What do we have to choose from? Non-track stations. So what's this one? That's 2x4. So it's... wow. That does look pretty cool, I will admit. Can I squeeze it in there? So it'd have to be 2x4, so it'd have to be there. Are there any thinner ones? These don't quite look as grand as that one. No, it doesn't. I want that one. Unless this one looks cool. Yeah, that one looks cool. We'll have that one. Okay, yeah, so we'll put that there. And then, yeah, that would make sense, because the footbridge kind of comes out from that building. Get out the way, trains. In fact, we could move the footbridge right to the end like that. And pop one down there. And one here. Let's have these, like in Wanpool. Oh, actually, what about... I think it's these ones. Nah. We'll make it look a bit more modern with the tiles like so. Yeah, then we can have these there and these here. And then let's choose what to do with the rest. So we could put tiles like that perhaps, because then we can have the same on the outside platforms. And then let's have an underpass at the other end of the station. Does that look good? I'm not too sure. I think it needs something. Let's create the middle one like that. In fact, I quite like that instead. I think that makes it look a bit more bold. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with this. Cool. So that's now Trinley Station. It's quite an improvement. Okay, so Trinley Station. So then we'll go down here. This is going to be it's a bit of a branch line, but thankfully there aren't many trains running along it. It will be something to keep an eye on because, well, actually, should we have a passing loop? Not really any space for one, is there? Yeah, there'll be something to keep an eye on this stretch of track. Then we'll have it come around here. And here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to extend this back one tile. And then we can put the buffers right at the end. And there we go. And just add another bay there and one more to the single side platform. There we go. Okay, so Sunwood is now completed. Now, I would like to have two routes primarily on this. So we'll have two variations, of the route. Now, one of them would be Reddingstone, Bootown, Nunnington, but I would like to have one service which stops at Warnpool and one which uses this bypass for a quick way to get to Trinley and such. Also, Tendinghatton doesn't need to be serviced by all the trains, so maybe we could have... I'm trying to think how to do this. Should we have one service which stops at Warnpool and Tendinghatton? And then, in fact, yeah, that would be the best, I think, because a lot of Trinley's a popular station, so I think this would be the best. We could create Luhatton. If I get rid of that, remove station. Let's turn oops, let's not put it there. Let's turn Luhatton into an interchange. We'll have one line which is Luhatton, Trinley, Tendinghatton, Warnpool, Nunnington, Bootown, Reddingstone. And then one which is Reddingstone, Bootown, Nunnington, and then Trinley, Sunwood. Yes, that is exactly what we're going to do. That would mean extending Luhatton Station, which is currently 3 tiles, which we have the space to do. What we'll do is we'll create the Luhatton one, which is the stopping service, as... Shall we create it as a 4-tile train? I think yes, I think that would be the best idea. So the Luhatton one, which will be the stopping service, that'll be a 4-tile train. And then the express one will be 5-tile. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. So let's create these trains, because the route is completed. I am a little concerned about the last stretch where we have the branch line services. In fact, yeah, I mean, look, we make every one of these stations we've made into 4-track. Yet this, I don't know, I'm having second thoughts about this area. I want to observe for a second to just see how busy... Right, so at the moment there's only 2 trains on the route. No, that'll be fine for now. But it is something we'll keep a very close eye on. Okay. Let's create one express firstly. Which is 4.9 tiles long. So, no loading or unloading. No loading or unloading. Non-stop, non-stop, non-stop. 2 calls at Reddingstone. One's non-stop. One is no unloading. So its first stop is Bootown, which is definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. Then it's Nunnington. Then to Nunnington. So this is the 5-tile one. So it's the express. So we'll pass Warnpool. Next stop will be Trinley. Nope, don't want any... Why did I do no unloading at Nunnington? And Bootown. Why did I do that? Okay. Right, Trinley. And then Sunwood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just double checking. Non-stop. End of the station. Go. So there is our first express train. Now we'll do the shorter stopping service. Which will be 3.9 tiles long. I'm happy doing the routes manually instead of copying the other one, just because it gives it a bit of time to space out the trains. But I think this is what the line desperately needed, with the expansion of the cities being what they've been. Bootown, Nunnington, oops. Then you're off to Warnpool. Tendinghattan. Trinley. And finally, Luhatton. There we are. So our express train is here. I'm just going to fast forward through this. I'll follow the train just to see its progress as we're fast forwarding, because it is quite often that express routes will have more than one variant of that route, because it does serve best for passengers. So for instance, this will be the preferred choice of train for passengers going directly to Trinley. And obviously it is a longer train too, which will service that quite well. I am watching it primarily as well just to see how the route handles, whether there's anything I've maybe overlooked. So there's not really much traffic here, which is good. It slows down on that corner, something to bear in mind. And this junction here, but I'm okay with that. So it slows down to 80 miles an hour. Warnpool bypass. Still at 125, catching up to that stopping service. Literally just tapered the speed slightly. Will it have time to pass it? No, that's something also to bear in mind. So the express train didn't have enough time to bypass that stopping service. Is this stopping service delayed? Yes, it is. So it's in Trinley. Trinley looks like it's going to be quite an important station for us, especially as we expand to different corners of the map. So this branch line that I was worrying about before seems to be okay. It's going to slow down here, as you'd expect. For such a new line, this is very crowded very quickly. And into Sunwood. Okay. Literally fully loaded in Sunwood. Making the route back. Quite a congested section here, with the stopping services which go to Luhatton. Using the branch line once more. There's the stopping service passing it. Catching up to an oil tanking train. Back through Trinley. There we are. Okay, so still has passengers from Sunwood. Oh, of course, yeah, the HSTs transfer mail as well. Saw the HST pass it then. I was wondering which one of those is that one, but I forgot there's also a third HST route which is populated as well. Getting to the stage now in the map where we do genuinely have congested sections of track, which we will definitely be having to look at in further 0.5 parts. So it's waiting for the oil tanker. One thing I'll have to bear in mind is that I created these bypasses with quite sparse signalling. So it waited for a few seconds there. This seems to be a bit of a bottleneck. Could be worth bearing in mind in future that we should maybe create second platforms for some of these branch line stations. May make things go a bit quicker. Waiting for the coal train, which is fine. Oof, one thing I do need to do here, whilst I remember, is on its return to Nunnington, it has to go through the north entry, doesn't it? So just factor that in. I'll wait for the stopping train just to reach Nunnington, so I'm not affecting its orders by adding that one in. At least it won't use the bay platform now the bay platform is occupied. So Nunnington is there, so 45, so that will be 43 and then 2 days to the platform. And this one has completed its route. So, how am I going to do this? Let's start with creating the express service first. So I'm going to clone that train and then delete the original. West Coast Express. Just making sure it had a room to auto increment its services. So this is the West Coast Express. There we go. Let's look at its timetable. So 10 days, Reddingstone for 4 days. I'm going to have 5 days at each stop actually. Oops. See, Trinley's actually 6 days on its returns. Let's make it wait for 8 days and its... no, let's say 10 days at its at their final final calls on the route. In fact, no, I'm going to make the decision to change the waiting time to 6 days for each stop, because that seems to be the maximum. So I'm guessing for a fully loaded train, it'll take 6 days to unload and load again. So we have this. How many shall we have for the fast route? One. I'd maybe say 4 trains. What I'm also going to do is find the express trains that are currently running along here. So we have capacity. Where are they? Reddingstone Express, that's it. Let's send all these to depot because we don't need these anymore. There we go. Okay, so if we had 4 trains, one would be in Reddingstone, one would be in Sunwood, the other ones would be around here. That's about right. So 4 is how many we're going to have. Control and clone. If I create this one with a start date of 30th of April, let's pause the game. Oh shit. I've done this wrong. I think. Have I? Yes. I think. Right, so these are the fast trains. Let's have a look. So we have April, August, so April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, January, February. No, actually, that looks right, doesn't it? So this one first, which is number 1. So that's the first one. And then we have this one, number 2. Get rid of that train. It's number 2. And then it's going to be number 3. Okay, yeah, so it's 3, 4. That's fine. Let's wait for this one to vacate. It's number 3. Then once number 3 departs, I'll set the final one off and then I can leave them be. Train 55 still going along its route. Debating putting an extra siding in there, actually. I'm just very cautious that if I set off number 58, is it going to overtake number 57 and leave it with nowhere to actually start its route? That's my thought process. So I'm going to chance it and wait for this one to clear. Train number 55, the slow service, hasn't completed its route anyway, so there's nothing really to hurry us along. Come on. 77 days early. Okay, I think it was going to start in August, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's very close to its start date. I think it was the 8th. There we go. Brilliant. So that one's now complete. Right. So now let's come on to the slow route. So West Coast Express. Slow. 1. In fact, actually, no. So we need to clone the train first, don't we? In fact, let's just bring that back to depot, actually. We don't need it to be servicing a route, do we? Holding train 2. Thank you very much for that apt naming. And then we could have you as the West Coast Express. Slow. 1. Let's unshare your orders. And clone. How many of you shall we have? Should we say 4? Yes, also 4. Pause the game. Get rid of the boxes. Sort out its timetable first. So 10 days waiting there. Reddingstone 6, 6, 6. I'm going to try start the timetable at an ulterior time to the current route. So I don't want it to be squashed alongside one of the faster services, is what I'm trying to say. Luhatton 10 days. 6, 6. It'll also recuperate some time with the fact it's waiting 6 days at Reddingstone when it only needs to wait for 3 because it's only unloading, but that's also a bonus. And wait for this one to vacate as well. So that one starts in February, doesn't it? If this one starts in something of February, yeah, 77 days early, we can start the other one in February, March, April. Okay. So, control start date. April, let's call it the 8th, 2040. Let's just check these. So we've got number 2, 4, 3. April, July, October, yeah, January next year. So that's perfect. So now we shall wait for this one to vacate. We can actually set that one off, can't we? Wait for it to do its thing. In fact, yeah, while it's loading that, I'm going to make a third platform here. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to happen. Okay. I'll just slow it down, just so I'm aware of what's happening. So let's find the buffer stops. And create these platforms as the rest of them are created. Whoops. There we go. That should do nicely. Well, it does mean that we can't use the second depot for its intended purpose, which was to only use one of the platforms. Though we've kind of found that to be a little bit redundant because we have to ensure they are released at staggered times anyway. So that's fine. So that one's going to start. It should have started in April. There we go. So now with the third one. And once this one vacates, we shall release the fourth one. And that will be both of our routes completed. Here we are, it's the first one going back. Obviously it is a little bit late, but that's okay because it's recovered time well. The sidings are doing their jobs perfectly. That's good. Obviously you want a lot of waiting time for the expresses just to make sure they're not all bunched together. And they are going to need time, obviously because of the speed of them, they are going to get delayed by stopping services on a regular basis. So it is important that you give them as much waiting time in sidings and end stations as possible. Okay, now I just want to release this fourth one. As you'll probably already know by the time in the video, this one is a little bit longer than most of their episodes. But that's okay, we've got a lot accomplished. So let's wait for the fourth one. Once one of these vacates, and there we go. So that's every one of the West Coast lines completed. Did I put those into the West Coast category? No, I didn't. West Coast Express. West Coast Express. There we go. So we now have an express coastline. We have a West Coast main line, which services the busier of our cities, and that should help expand these cities, although to be fair they have a lot of expansion going for them anyway for the fact they're so well connected. And we have basically connected 2 new cities to our express network, which is a good thing. So Nunnington and Sunwood are now connected, and that concludes this part. So in the next episode, it will be a full episode. We'll come on to another construction project, and in the next obviously 0.5 episode we'll look over something else that we can do to change some of our routes around. There are likely some alterations we can make to certain bus routes in this area, which is probably what we should be looking at in our next revision episode. But a little bit longer than usual, I shall conclude this part. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again in the future.